restaurant, Golden Palace, right? I'm wondering how that set had changed over time, and did it like start to feel like home to you, like getting to do all your scenes in there?
Well, you know, that location does represent like the safe haven within Chinatown for the citizens that live in Chinatown. But in the opening episode, there is actually, you know, where that convergence of the two, and that's why it's so disconcerting. What we're doing is seeing how now it's actually encroached further and further into our safe haven now. Mm-hmm. Now we're kind of forced outside the confines of our safety. What do we do now?
My grandfather's from North Beach, which is right next to Chinatown, so I grew up going to Chinatown all the time. And just walking around, looking at the architecture, going into shops, buying stuff, seeing people getting their groceries, and it just feel like it's one of the few places in the Bay where people who have immigrated to the States have a culture that doesn't feel, it hasn't been like cleaved from them. It's like you can come here and have some semblance of where you came from. It's obviously not the same, but you can have some like a safe place to be. So that was cool to see that growing up.
Lisa, you know, I've had the pleasure of seeing you do improv and watching you on Dropout and stuff. You're a very, very funny woman.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, it made me curious because your character has so many of those, like, fun tags and one-liners of how much of that was written and how much of that was, you know, Lisa Gilroy.
Yeah, this was really hard for me to not, like, take it to wacky dookie world and say whatever the hell I wanted because the lines, the writers are incredible and the lines are so apropos to the murder that's happened and the puns that are there. You know, it's all... Yeah. I had to play it like how Green would be, which is very actually on script, right? Because if I have to stick in the procedural world so that everyone else can start exploring different realities. If nobody stays constant, then we're just in chaos world. So yeah, I found it hard to stay strong.
There's like a messaging there, which is interesting for like, I think Asian American talent, right? Where it's just like Kung Fu guy is the closest we can get to becoming a movie star. And I'm just so curious for your own careers. Did you ever feel that pressure that you had to play these stereotypical roles? And why is it kind of cool to have a show to address those messages?
I don't do stereotypical roles. I just don't do them. That's how you do it. Yeah. You just don't do it.
Just put your foot down about it.
But yeah, but you know, like nobody twists your arm to do it, right? I mean, I think you know everybody. Look, it's not if everybody do their thing, whatever situation they're in. I don't know. They have 5 kids in private school. What am I going to do? They have to get a job. They have to feed mouths, right? I don't have that problem because I have to make sure in my life I just say, you know what? I'm not going to be put myself in a position where I have to do something. And if I do that, then I may regret it, right? So I can dare say I regret nothing I do.
I did try to like kind of bend myself into certain paradigms in the past. I just wasn't very good at it. I wasn't the right person to meld. They're gonna get someone who does that accent better, who actually does have a basis in martial arts, who actually does speak Mandarin. You know, so you know that's my strong suit is to lean into, you know, who I am, which is just again a very mainstream Asian American.
What is like the key to a good fight scene, but also a good key to getting beat up? Like we see Fatty take a couple punches. And, you know.
I think those actually are interlocked because I think the key to a good fight sequence is I think the reactions are as important as the punches, and people don't really realize that. I also think that another key is people think it's fighting. It's choreo for fights is dancing, much more than actual fighting. It's way less intuitive. Like fighting, you're covering your face, you're blocking yourself. When you're choreo, when you're doing stunts, you're trying to, you need to show the camera your face. You're trying to do wide punches. Yeah. But I don't know why I'm talking because I don't do any in the show. So sorry.
No, what do you mean? No, you come from Not to mention you literally did it for like the 7 years on Marvel. So I don't know. I think the key of that is just having a good stunt fight choreographer who you trust, and they understand what works, and you trust them, and you practice, you know, and then make sure it looks good on camera. And Chloe's absolutely right. You know, learning how to sell a reaction is a lot of it.
And let's be honest, like the backbone of fights, like we have to shout out like the stunt community who
guys,
don't get nearly enough. Yeah. Like we have the stunt people are so talented.
Yeah, very underrated, and they do a bulk of all this stuff to make us look good. Like when we look good on camera, it's because some stunt guy like did a triple axel to sell our kick, you know. But
Charles Yu is a showrunner, but he was also the author of the book. how did that maybe enhance the material for you?
I found it to be a huge relief. I know that you felt
Huge.
intimidated. I mean, obviously I was intimidated to a certain point, but I felt like, oh, thank God, like Dad's home. Somebody's here that we can ask because it's a
Yeah.
complicated story. And to have somebody who doesn't just know what's up, but actually like created it is so cool to have him there. And I clung to him for dear life.